So there is a bill that's actually going fairly unnoticed that is really, really big in my opinion. I've kind of like done a live stream about it, and also my last video was about it too, but not many people watched that video. I guess the title wasn't exciting enough. The fact that Oklahoma has a bill called, I think, SB 325, and this particular bill is one of the biggest to come out in crypto in the last couple of years. This not only allows companies to accept crypto as payment, but probably more importantly, it allows companies or employees to actually choose Bitcoin as a form of payment for salary. Now, this indicates drastic changes in the industry if it's approved. And you might be thinking it's Oklahoma. It's not like a big economy. It's only one state and not even one of the top economic states in the union. That's true. But remember, this tends to have knock-on effects for other states. Remember when Wisconsin started including Bitcoin in its pensions, like 3 or 4 other states actually started. And let's not forget, we have the most pro-Bitcoin Congress on both sides of the aisle at this point that we've ever had. And I think state legislatures are actually kind of that way too. So if Oklahoma does this, I do think there is a good chance that other states follow suit. Now, if you have several states actually paying a decent amount of Bitcoin as salary, to other private or public employees, that changes the entire game altogether. Now, employees obviously have a choice of whether to accept cash or Bitcoin, or they can request Bitcoin. And I don't think that many employees as a percentage will actually do that, but there will probably be tens of thousands of people choosing to accept Bitcoin as a salary. And that kind of flips the paradigm upside down, because think about it. Now the IRS has to deal with taxes a lot more. There are tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people receiving Bitcoin for salary. And the state is actually paying them for that in Bitcoin. So the IRS might actually have to accept Bitcoin as a form of payment for taxes. Now, this would have weird implications because this would actually be good for the industry because it obviously creates demand for Bitcoin. But otherwise, the other thing is like people don't actually have to sell their Bitcoin ahead of time just to pay the IRS. They can just give part of a percentage of their profits in Bitcoin away so they don't have to liquidate their stash to actually pay the tax. And it could actually be the same for other cryptos soon after Bitcoin as well. If you are going to tax a coin, then you have to accept that coin as tax. Otherwise, just tax on cash out. And if the IRS, I think, is forced that way, I think they'll just choose to actually get the tax on cash out. I think the salary stuff will be automatic because they'll just, for most people, they just deduct the salary and then give you whatever's left. So I think the IRS are going to have to handle that anyways, but they probably don't want 20, 30 forms of payment in terms of crypto. So they might just do for the investing part at least, basically tax on cash out because it'd be much easier for them. Because then they would receive all the taxes in USD. But that's another thing the IRS would actually have to consider. And I think that's a big, big benefit to the industry because that obviously develops another big use case for Bitcoin. And the thing that if you pay people with Bitcoin and you have a lot of businesses accepting Bitcoin for payment, and I think businesses will eventually accept Bitcoin for payment, and this might be the start of that in one state, but like I said, it has a knock-on effect for a lot of other states. If businesses are accepting Bitcoin for payment and people are getting paid in Bitcoin, then Bitcoin really does get to be looked as a currency rather than just an investment. And we haven't really gotten over that hump yet, at least yet, in making Bitcoin an investment. Making Bitcoin a currency or actually a utility coin rather than just an investment, because most people still buy and hold Bitcoin as obviously they buy and hold Bitcoin as an investment to try to make life-changing wealth. But if they start getting paid in Bitcoin and they start companies start transacting in Bitcoin, that could actually make it a corollary to the US dollar. Now, I don't think it's going to replace the US dollar, and I think the US dollar is always going to be around, but it could actually be a secondary option at this point. And that would actually have tremendous benefits for Bitcoin. There'll be a much bigger demand for Bitcoin just for everyday use. And it starts with things like this, because it's hard to get a bunch of individual people to adopt something as a currency. But if like a government or like an authoritative entity kind of like doesn't not force it but allows it to and even encourages it, then it's a lot easier. And as soon as one state does it, other states I think will fall in line not to fall behind. So this is a really, really breakthrough important bill. I definitely think it goes across. It is a red state, and I do think like the GOP generally supports Bitcoin, so I do think there's a good chance this goes across. It could come into effect as early as November of 2025 this year. And that would be a massive, massive breakthrough for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.